So just a couple days ago, I watched the new Predator movie, Predator Killer of Killers, and my god, this movie was fucking amazing. I loved it. I don't know what my expectations going into it were, in all honesty. Like, I expected it to be hella fun, but I think it was way better than with the stuff that has come before this. At least with the movie that has come before this, Prey. Honestly, yeah, I think I could have expected it to be this good, but like it just blew my expectations out of the water. It was just so fucking fun. So essentially, what Predator Killer of Killers is that it's, I guess, an anthology movie. It is kind of, even though it does have an overarching plot to it. It does comprise of like three different stories that all come together at the end. What they do in each individual story is so fucking cool. Honestly, the only bad part about it, well, at least like relative, like a relative bad part about it, like compared to the other parts, is the final one where it all comes together. Because with the three parts that make up this anthology series, one of them takes place in like, the Viking times, the era of the Vikings. The other takes place in like feudal Japan, and the other takes place in like World War II. All three of these stories essentially wrap up at the end, and to me, I feel like it misses a lot of what makes the three individual stories really great. And what makes all these stories really great is that it is literally just, what if we put a predator in these time periods? Like in the first part, The Shield, which takes place during like the Viking times, it is literally like, what if we just had a Viking face off against a giant predator? And it feels kind of like, like a bunch of Vikings just taking on a monster. It's essentially what every good predator story is. I mean, that's what well, at least like the first two is, which is like there's a story going into it that's already there, and then a predator just shows up out of nowhere. That's literally how, like, the first two parts, the one that, the Viking part and the feudal Japan part takes place. Like, when you first get into those two parts, it gives you the plot of, like, the characters that are going after something, they have a goal, they're going to kill this person or something, and then a predator just shows up after it's all done. Just shows up and it's just like, I'm taking over the plot now. Boom. It's kind of like the first Predator movie, where it's like, okay, we're like sending in these soldiers to like deal with this situation overseas, and then a Predator just shows up. But yeah, the first part is really good, really fun. Just some old Predator Viking action. My favorite part was the second one that takes place in feudal Japan, or as it's called, The Sword, where it's like you have these two brothers. And I'm not going to go into like huge story elements. I do feel like you should watch this on your own. But with the feudal Japan story, it's like, okay, we could do, a samurai versus the predator. We could do a ninja versus the predator. What if we did both? And honestly, that's probably my favorite part, the sword. The second one, like the middle one, it's just so good. The action's incredible. I think they do a great way of like, creating a very like engaging story just beyond a predator showing up, of like a tale between brothers and stuff. To me, it's the most compelling story out of this entire movie. But honestly, I had a lot of fun watching the World War II segment of it, the Bullet as it's called. I feel like that part, to me, I did not have a lot of expectations going into it. This was the one where essentially a predator gets into a dogfight with a World War II pilot. And to me, I was like, okay, it's going to be interesting to see how you could make that interesting, especially when it comes to the Predator, which, like, if there is a Predator, a Yatya or whatever, I fucking hate that name. If there is a Predator, you want to see it, in the wild. You want to see it, hunting its prey, not in a ship or anything, but like on its own. But I feel like they really made a predator dogfighter very compelling with the action at play, and also just like the story of the guy that the predator faces off against, Torres. Like, I think they did a great job of like really playing into that, using the same elements that you'll see in a lot of predator movies, of like the main character figures out how the predator tracks them and tries to come up with a way to use their technology, their disadvantage to their favor to try to take down the predator. And I feel like they use that in a very clever way in the dogfight that I honestly didn't see coming. And to me, I feel like that's why Dan Trachtenberg, who is the director on this, is like just incredible. He's definitely been a big reason as to why we have seen a Predator resurgence since like Prey, like the movie Prey came out. There's gonna be another Predator movie this year too, and it really feels like you can tell like this guy Dan Trachtenberg, I think I'm saying it right. You can just tell he has like such an affinity for the Predator series and just has a lot of different ideas for it. And it feels like a lot of those ideas are just like, what if we just did a bunch of like what ifs? Like, how Marvel does what if? What if we did that with Predator and just had tons of fun with it? Like, okay, Predator in like pre-colonized, like pre-13 colonies America. What if the Predator fought Native Americans? What if the Predator fought Vikings? What if they fought like ninjas in feudal Japan? What if they were in World War II and had dogfights? And with like the new one that's going to come out, Badlands, it's literally just like what if the Predator was the protagonist, which it's going to be interesting at the very least. I'm not like entirely hopeful for it, but Prey and this movie, Killer of Killers, definitely gives me a lot of hope that Trachtenberg really has a lot of love for this franchise and wants to do right by it. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes with it. Also, something that I love about this movie too is all the unique designs when it comes to like each of the Predators. Like I love the original Predator look, but I do like the idea of like every single Predator has its own look to it. It just adds a level of uniqueness. It lets you know that like this is a race that kind of acts out on its own for the most part. Sometimes they do it together, as we saw in like Predators, but for the most part, like they're just hunters that are just trying to claim their prizes. It's like a entire alien race of like Kraven the Hunters, which is kind of funny now that I say that, because there's literally a Predator Spider-Man crossover going on right now where Kraven is playing a part into it. It's a race of aliens that are just like, we're going to go out on our own and capture prey. Why would they all look the same? Like, I think, they all have really interesting designs, especially for the time period. Like, the Predator that shows up in the Sword, the feudal Japan part. He is very, like, slick black. He's very stealthy and shit like that. The one that shows up in the Shield, he looks like a monster that a bunch of Vikings would fight. Shit like that. And even the one in the Bullet, the World War II part, like even that Predator looks like a Predator that kind of like specializes in, not hunting, hand to hand, like being on the ground. He looks like a Predator who specializes in using a ship to hunt. Like, I like the uniqueness. I feel like it has a cool element to the Predator universe that they all just don't look the same. And I mean, even at the end, we get like a shot of the Predator King, a Predator that kind of like is like the leader of all the Predators, and he fucking has like xenomorph tails as a cape. Like he cut, like you can just tell, and they don't even like spill it out for you either. It's just like a cool attention to detail of just being like, even I didn't even notice this until I went on Twitter. After I watched this movie, I was like, are people talking about this? Like, I feel like more people should be talking about how great this movie was. And I saw someone just mention, like, oh, it's so cool that the Predator King, if you look at his cape, it's literally comprised of alien tails, like xenomorph tails. And I was like, that's so fucking cool. Again, they don't, like, put it right in front of your face. They're just like, here's some story building that we're that we're doing. Like, yeah, the xenomorphs and the Predators, they still all exist in the same universe. Hopefully... and here's the thing, honestly, I feel like if we are going to get a Predator vs. Alien series, movie or something like that, I feel like it would be best done now. Well, maybe, I would at least wait till Badlands ends. In all honesty, I would at least wait for that movie because, we're still only like 2 movies into like this new era of the franchise. So I wouldn't like shotgun it right away, but I do hope we get at least some like Predator versus Alien stuff in the future. I haven't seen Romulus yet. I've heard some mixed opinions on it, in all fairness, but in the same time, like, I would still like to see something with Predators versus Aliens, at least with like Trachtenberg at the helm, because even though he's only had 2 projects out, he obviously has shown a deep love for this franchise, and even though I'm not fully aware of, I would like to see him at least give like Aliens a try. If he could like nail an Aliens project, then I would say like, okay, you gotta do like AVP or something. But we'll just have to wait and see about that. But honestly, this movie was just fucking great. Honestly, I'm stuck between giving it a 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10, because like I'm not a huge fan of the ending, because I don't want to like give any spoilers, but I feel like it doesn't do what it arguably should have done, and it feels more like just a standard monster action movie at that point, where like literally the only I don't want to spoil it too much, but the only like big action parts we see in the final moments, it just feels like it doesn't feel very unique. It doesn't use the Predator format very well, because it just feels like they're just fighting a giant monster. And at one point, that's literally all they do, is just fight a giant monster. Like, I would have loved if they would have done the end sequence similar to Predators, the movie that came out, I believe it was like 2010. It came out like after Predators 2. It was the one where they like took a bunch of like killers from Earth and just put them on a alien planet to like try to just survive a hunt from other predators and shit like that. It's the one that like Topher Grace is in. That movie's great. I honestly love that movie. I think it's a cool concept of like, the predators being like, oh, I mean, essentially that's also what they do in this movie, but they don't do what they do in Predators. Because in this movie they capture like 3 people who have killed a predator, during their time, and they put them on this alien planet. But it's more like a gladiatorial fight than just putting them on a planet and just seeing how long they last against these other predators, like stuff like that. And I would have preferred if they would have done that instead. But also, this movie isn't entirely long. Maybe that was the original plan, and they just didn't have like the time restraints just did not allow them to do that. I can see that being the case. In all honesty, this movie is only like an hour 20. Well, yeah, like an hour 30, if anything. It's like an hour 30 long. And honestly, if they would have cut some time from the other parts of this, like the time period parts, in order to do like a Predators like sequence at the end, I don't think it would have been worth it, because I think like the shield, the sword, and the bullet, do such a great job of standing alone and telling a great story that I don't know if I would have wanted those sequences to be cut short just so they could do something at the end. But it feels like they missed out on an opportunity. However, I feel like everything else in this movie, outside of my little gripe with that, because to me it's not like a big problem that I have with the movie, it's not at all. Honestly, I feel like the pros greatly outweigh the con. Like that's literally my only problem with the movie, if I'm gonna be honest, is that I just wish the ending was different. But again, I feel like they didn't go that direction because of time restraints. And honestly, I feel like everything else in this movie does such a great job and carries the movie so much that honestly, to me, again, it's one of those cases where like I'm stuck between a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10, and I would have to give it a 10 out of 10 more so, because again, the only reason it would be like a 9 is because of that little gripe that I have. But because it's such a small gripe, I feel like it has to be a 10 out of 10. Like, this movie's just so fucking good. Honestly, like, I'm so hyped to see. This movie has probably made me more hyped to see Badlands, even though it's like a different medium. This one was animated. The Badlands movie is going to be live action. Especially, well, even then, we've seen what Dan Trachtenberg can do with a live action Predator movie with Prey. So, like, I do have a good amount of hope that Badlands is gonna be great. But that's all I really had to say about this movie. I mean, it's just so fucking good. It's out on streaming. You know, you don't gotta pay extra for it. It's on Hulu, which means like if you have like the Hulu deal on Disney Plus, you could also watch it there. But yeah, this movie was just so fucking cool. I just love this movie. It was just so fucking great. I love it. You should definitely give it a shot if you haven't. Honestly, I'm just really excited for like this new resurgence in Predators. I love the first Predator movie. I even love the second one, even though apparently it wasn't well received when it first came out. Predators is also great too, the one that I mentioned earlier. The only one that really isn't, I mean, there's also the AVP movies that aren't great at all. But like the only standalone Predator movie that isn't great is The Predator from 2018. That one sucks. I remember like when I was like I don't know, preteen, like yeah, like a preteen, like 12, 13, shit like that. I remember like I saw the Predator movies. Like I saw all three of them. I saw like Predators first, like years before then, and I really liked it. But then when I was like 12 or 13, I actually watched the first two Predator movies and I loved them. And when I heard years afterwards that they were coming out with a new one by the guy who directed Iron Man 3, which was the only Shane Black film I knew about the time. So that's why I brought that up. Like, at the time, Iron Man 3 was the only Shane Black movie I even knew about. So when they said that, like, oh, he was going to direct a Predator movie, I was like, okay, this could be interesting. Okay, I'm a little excited for it. And then it came out, and I just did not care for it at all. I didn't see it in theaters, in all honesty. It was like after it came out in theaters that I actually saw it, but it was just not good. I really just do not care for the idea of like, especially the end credit scene where they're just like, oh, the humans have a Predator armor now. I just hate that idea. I hate the idea of like, what if we gave human beings like Predator armor to fight back against the Predators? Like, no. I don't care for it. It just, because at that point it makes the Predator, like a lone Predator, feel less special. And to me, that's all I care about. Like, I don't want to see like someone against an army of Predators. Like, we did kind of see that in Predators, but the thing that made that special was like the unique circumstance of like this group of people who are all killers being put into this random field, and now they just gotta survive. Like, at least with that, I'm just like, okay, I can accept that more. But to be like, oh, we're just gonna throw predators after predators, like they're this invading army or something, to me, I don't care for at all. And that's what it really felt like in the Predator movie, where it's just like, the next step would just be like, oh, there's just like hundreds of predators that show up on Earth and shit like that. And now it's like Independence Day or whatever. Don't care for that. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say about this. Just an overall great movie. Probably my favorite movie out of this year so far. But then again, Superman and Fantastic Four are still set to come, so we'll have to wait and see. Hello everyone, thank you for watching today's video. If you would like to see more videos like this, please leave a like and subscribe down below. If you would like to check out my main channel where I do political commentary as well as talk about internet drama and stuff like that, go follow my main channel FruitySoar. If you would like to check out my gaming videos, you can follow me at FruitySoar Gaming. But that's all I had to say for today. I'd like to thank you all for watching once again, and I will see you next time.